right now, are you living your dream life, the life that you want to live? Or are you dreaming about living your dream life somewhere down the road? Why? Some things have been happening recently that really got me thinking about this topic about you living the life that you want to live right now. You living your dream life instead of putting it off till someday down the road. Let's fix that. Welcome to Goose Pond Hideout with Rob. So, I've been really thinking about this, you living the life that you want to be living instead of putting it off till somewhere down the road. is and what really got me thinking about that is this past week that I usually stand on the other side like this, and I'm over here, so I've got to get used to using, and I'm left-handed, so I should be using my left hand. So, but anyway, some people passed away this past week. Some prominent, well-known people, well-liked people, people that we all remember from our childhood up, and that have been nice, good people that have, we've been on TV shows and things, people that we've enjoyed being, having a part of our lives, and they've recently passed away in this past week. Quite a few people, unfortunately. And a couple of them were in their early 70s and that, and some younger. And that really got me thinking about you living the life that you want to live, your dream life, living an exciting life or a quiet life if that's what you want to live. But, you living the life, because we don't know how much time we have. I mean, someday our number's going to be up. And what I see too much of is people, caught up in the work world, saving up for that day that they're going to retire, and sometimes that day never gets here. And I remember a person when I was younger, maybe in my 30s or so, and lived in the neighborhood, and he retired from his business job, and this was up north, and he and his wife, their kids were all grown up, out of college, married, doing their own thing and that. So he retired from his job. They sold their house. They moved to a little place down in Florida, and he was out on the golf course playing golf, and he dropped dead of a heart attack. And I mean, they were down there maybe a month or so. So that's the kind of thing, so he put off his whole life living in a place that was, cold and snowy and trudging to work. And, I'm not saying that they were unhappy, but his dream life was living on a golf course and playing golf every day. So when they finally made that move, a month later, he's gone. And, that's the thing with these people. Hang on 2 seconds. I'll be right back. Go on, Bonnie, go on. All right. So, you never know when you're going to have your number up, and I see too many people putting it off. And something that happened to me, I'm going to say I was in my late 20s or so, and I was commuting into the city of Chicago, actual downtown by the lake Chicago, and so it kind of makes sense. But I remember this group of people trying to convince me that live and work where you can make a lot of money, because you can always vacation wherever you want to go vacation. And I'm just like, that didn't make sense to me. So when I got out of that, I moved up to Maine. And I mean, we moved to a town that was smaller than my high school. The town was about 3,000 people, and my graduating class was 800. So that's 4 times 8 is 32. So the town was actually smaller than my entire high school. And I certainly, could have made a lot more money if I'd have stayed in the suburbs of Chicago or that. But that mindset of living in a place where you don't look forward to Monday morning, and you don't look forward to Tuesday morning, and you don't look forward, the rest of the weekdays, and you're living for the weekend and that occasional vacation that you take, once or twice a year, when you go off to that little cabin on the lake, or the condo on the beach, or your RV that you travel around campgrounds or places in, that's what you really want to do, then that's what you should be doing right now. And again, don't live in a life that I hate to say, where you just don't like your options Monday through Friday. You're always thinking about the weekend, and you don't want to get up Monday morning and start it all over again. And you're always planning and looking, because vacations cost a lot of money. When you go on that week or 2 week vacation, you got to fly somewhere and pay for a hotel, and everything's twice as expensive as it normally is. And that is, if you were just living the life that you wanted to live, you wouldn't need to be saving up for all of that. So you cut back on your debt, and you don't have to have fancy clothes for work and drive a fancy car, and the old keeping up with the Joneses and everything. You just you grow a beard, grow a ponytail. I save a lot of money on hair products, and going to I don't go to the beauty salon. I just snip it off when it gets a little shaggy on the end. And I should probably trim up my beard a little bit. But, so be thinking about that. Be thinking about what is it, what is your dream life? If you could, get up tomorrow and be sitting in a log cabin on a pond, or on the beach, or, up north in the wilderness, you want to move to Alaska, or your dream has always been to live in an RV and drive Route 66 across the country, and travel around and do the snowbird thing where you're down south in the wintertime, and you up north in the summertime, and you see the foliage in New England, and you go visit the Grand Canyon and all those kinds of things. Don't wait until someday, because someday might be too late, and you can't go once you're gone. Does that make sense? You can't travel and live the life of your dreams once your life is unexpectedly over. And again, that just got me thinking, because of the people that have passed away here last week recently, and got me thinking about my life back in Chicago there, when everybody was trying to convince me to live in a place where I could just make a lot of money. And I just thought, to me, it's like, how can you be miserable in your life just to be making money, with the thought that you can go on vacation to the place that you really want to be once in a while, and then when you get, quote, old, my age, and thankfully, knock on wood, I'm in reasonably good health, but I could be in better health, and that you go to enjoy life, and then an illness gets you. So please think seriously about you living the life of your dreams right now. Do whatever it takes. You know, work hard for maybe 1 year, have that. Like when I was in Chicago, there was a definite, I knew it was coming to an end. You know, I wasn't going to just do that someday, one more year, one more year, one more year. It was definitely coming to an end, and that's when we moved up to the little bitty town in Maine. And then after I lived there for a while, I turned the chapter in my book, and we lived on the sailboat down in the Gulf. And then I turned the chapter on the book, and here we are on the homestead. And maybe it's time to be turning another chapter. Who knows? Been thinking about doing the RV thing. So do what makes you happy right now. Don't keep putting it off till someday down the road, because someday might not ever get here. Freedom. Freedom!